G'day. This is Sober Ross calling in today. Yeah, it's been a while since I've been totally sober, and you could say today been about the 5th day without any alcohol whatsoever. I'm doing pretty well, even though I have a running deal going with one of my employees where instead of getting paid in cash money, I get paid in cash beer, carton beer. So I got a whole carton last night from my cleaning job, and I've still got a whole carton left, so I'm pretty proud of myself there. I only gave up because I ran out completely and totally, and ran out of money because my usual job couldn't get to it last Sunday, and that's where I get enough to survive from and buy a bit of beer. Anyway, so it's a good thing. I feel good. I've kicked the alcohol habit so far. And anyway, the reason I want to have this little discussion today while I sip coffee from a coffee cup, and that will be relevant shortly, is because of this latest phenomenon about the flat earth. Now, a lot of people think when you first hear flat earth, your first instinct is to say, oh my God, yeah, that's really, only the stupidest of stupid people would believe such a thing. Well, it's not a belief, it's an understanding. It's what you come to, and you will come to it when you try to debunk it. That's how pretty much everybody gets into it. You hear it all the time. They go, oh, this will be a bit of a laugh, I'm going to debunk this one. And so they go to debunk it, and what do you know? There's no evidence of it being a ball earth. The first thing people will say to you if you dare bring up the subject, oh, but what about the sun setting and rising? What about all the other planets we can see out there? What about the moon? They're all spheres, therefore we're a sphere. Makes about as much sense as looking around on the earth and looking at all the land-based mammals and saying, well, 99.9% of land-based mammals all have 4 legs and a tail. We're land-based mammals, therefore we all have 4 legs and a tail. Simple as that. End of story. You can't conclude what Earth is simply by looking what's out there, what appears to be out there. It's as stupid as that example I just gave you. It's nonsense. You have to look at what's here. And what do you see here? Well, you see water always remains level. Now here's where I get back to the coffee cup. The coffee stays in the cup until I tilt it like so. Once it is sufficiently tilted, the liquid will flow out of the cup. Now, this is on a flat table here too, mind you. As you can see, flat coffee cup, flat table. Now you have to ask yourself this simple question. How big does your coffee cup have to be before the coffee level inside of it can be below the table level and still stay in the cup? That's what ball earthers believe, that when it's so far way across the horizon in the ocean, where you can no longer see it, out of sight, out of mind, that it can then curve downwards, but the water will still stay flat and level. It won't fall out around a ball, which means basically when you're way up past the horizon, which is merely just the vanishing point beyond our limits of visual perception, that when you're way out there in the middle of the ocean on this ball earth, that every direction away from you is downhill, that you are on top of this ball because of your particular location, because how else could you be? You wouldn't be here on the water, would you? Because you'd be looking uphill on the water. You wouldn't be looking, no, everywhere has to be downhill from your perspective, because you see how ridiculous it is. Water level is water level for a reason. It is level, it is flat, and what keeps it flat is 2 higher edges on either side of it. Therefore, the flat Earth theory about being surrounded by Antarctica, holding the water in, and the land masses are floating, whatever they are. They might be a single land mass with just some parts higher than the water level, which makes sense, a bit like an iceberg. The majority of it is floating underneath the water. You just see the tip of it. Well, that's Earth. That is our land mass. It is the floating part above sea level. You want to know what the tides are? Well, that's pretty simple. The Earth, it's rocking slightly. As it rocks gently around, who knows what is spinning, whether it's the Earth spinning like a record player, or if it's the stars in the firmament above spinning. It doesn't really make much difference because you still get the same effect. But the tides are basically what you get from something moving. Gentle rocking force, you get 2 tides twice a day. 1 tide twice a day. High and low twice a day. It's very simple. The sun and moon could simply be suspended from strings for all we know, or some sort of tether. Now here's another thing that people think. Earth is spinning around the sun. Okay, yeah, gravity, for sure. Yeah, let's assume that's correct. The power of the sun is pushing out light and heat so fast, but while the Earth is trying to get attracted to it, that force balances it, keeps the Earth out there at the same distance roughly. There's lots of other anomalies with that. Let's assume that's correct. What about the moon? What sort of force is the Earth pushing out to keep the moon from crashing into us? You get a ball on a string, spin it around, that makes sense. It orbits us, but you let go of that string, the ball goes flying off in a straight line. The Earth and the moon are not attached to each other by a string. It's such a delicate balance that the slightest bit off, if the moon is really moving away by 1.5 centimetres per year or whatever they say, that disturbs that balance, that delicate balance, just enough so that it should continue in a straight line and ping off into the universe. Very, very simple. It's not a ball. Now, if this was the sun and this is the Earth spinning around on its axis as it goes around in a year, there's exactly 24 hours in a day. You don't have to adjust your watch or your clock or anything. If it's midday here, 24 hours later, 24, it keeps going around. By the time it's here, midday is now facing there. By the time it's here, midday is still facing there. And it should be midday, daylight, in the middle of the night. But it's not. We are not going around the sun. Anybody who still believes that we are really needs to do their research. Try and debunk those few simple examples I've given you. I'll be back. I've got heaps more to tell you, but I'm not real good at public speaking, as you can see, so cheers.